Oh hey, it's Brian and Max from Up at Noon, and today we're joined by Seth Rollins. Welcome to the show. Thanks for coming. Congrats on the launch of WWE, which just came out this week.
Yeah, man. I'm on the cover of that.
I gotta ask, how did that happen?
Yeah, how did they tell you that?
I was legit sitting on my couch at home, and somebody called me and they said, "Hey, so you bitched enough, and 2K wants to put you on the cover this year." And I was like, "Hey, it worked. All right, sweet."
The squeaky wheel gets the
that's it, man. Yeah, no, I was a little vocal the last couple of years that they had used some of the older superstars for the cover of the game, and so they finally obliged and put one of the younger generation on there. And I was very happy and humbled to represent our generation as one of the first kind of newer guys to be on there in quite some time. So that's pretty cool.
So the strategy is work very hard for many, many years, and then complain. And then sit on the couch and wait for the phone to ring, and then when it rings, you're like, "Yep, got it."
Got it. That's it. I mean, that's a recipe for success in my book. It worked for me. I don't know if it can work for the children at home, but yeah,
So
when
they showed you the box art, was there like a big poster board on like a pole, or was it like a JPEG and an email? Was there an unvailing that you got to be like?
When did the first time I saw it? I don't even. Somebody sent me a picture of it. I remember doing the photo shoot, WrestleMania weekend actually. So it was in April. We did the photo shoot, and I had a couple different gear options, and then I got the one, and I remember when we were doing it, they wanted this crazy, because one of my nicknames, fan nicknames they give me is CrossFit Jesus. So they wanted this pose that was me with my arms out and all this stuff, looking almost in the crucifixion, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
And so we were doing this pose and trying to get that right, and it's difficult because my arms were way out there. And then they gave me they showed me the artwork, and it's just me looking serious and angry, and I was like, all right, well, that's cool too. That
works. I think Jesus and CrossFit people both have those thoughts. Both of those sort of groups. I'm not going to call Jesus a group, but they're also Jesus is he's very talkative about the work that he was doing.
Sure, yeah.
And so are CrossFit people. So
that's true.
That produces a very vocal man.
Yeah. So I was very pleased to do the cover, and it's cool. It turned out well, and I'm thrilled with it, man. I think I look cool.
Is it still is it kind of weird for you to see yourself in a video game that other people are controlling you and punching you in the face, or using you to punch them in the face?
Yes, actually, both of those things. Yeah, it's weird to see. Today was crazy because it was kind of release day, so I got to see myself on the cover, on the box, and then just to see myself in the video game, especially now where video games are so lifelike. And I played WWE video games my whole life,
right.
So I created myself for years. And with terrible old creation systems where it was just fire on the pants and blue hair and stuff like that.
You have to use stock music.
Close enough, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of look like Matt Hardy, so whatever. and then now, I'm almost, I'm in it. It's me. They got my tattoo, they got my chest hair, they got my perfect beard, they've got it all.
That's
so,
awesome.
it's intense to get in there and watch yourself and the moves and just everything.
So
it's crazy.
There's the version of you that's in the game that's made by the people who made the game, but there's also the character creation system. Do you go in and you're I'm going to make myself the way I see myself, not the way you see me?
Not anymore, man. No way. No, they do. They get us in a facial scanner with 6,000 points on it or whatever. So they got that thing down.
Oh,
There's zero chance I will do any better. Although there are fans out there who will create my alternate costumes, kind of different outfits that aren't in the game, and that is crazy because they can do it really well, and I have no idea how on that level with the creation system, just that they can make my gear look, because it's not anything. It's not like they just took my gear and were oh, put a color here, put a color there. It's down to all the little tiny details. It blew my mind some of the first times I saw.
Yeah, I've always been
costumes.
incredibly impressed with that section of the WWE 2K games, because it's this awesome cross section of people who really love wrestling, and then people who should have gone to art school.
Yeah, right.
They're brilliant artists, and they're creating these incredible characters based on pop culture figures.
Here comes SpongeBob, and you're oh yeah, SpongeBob, who has never wrestled. That's really weird.
The Night King's in the game. Sweet, what the heck? It's all sorts of wild characters that they're just you're in there now, and they take time to put the move sets together and make sure that it's character specific, and I'm dude, you have a lot of time on your hands.
So you got all the 6,000 mocap scanners on your face and the professionally done version of you. So you get thrown in there. Who's the first character you make that isn't you?
Oh man, I don't know. I haven't made a character in so long, man. I spend more time playing. For me, I like the roster's huge, right? Every year we get more. So this year it's the biggest roster ever again. And like I just like playing with the old school guys. Like Bam Bam Bigelow's in the game this year. The Natural Disasters, Earthquake and Typhoon are in the game. Like Bad Street, so Michael Hayes and Barry Gordy are in the game. Like Terry Gordy, it's cool. Like just to go back and play with all the classic characters, Macho Man, Ric Flair, like all that stuff.
I grew up in New Jersey, and every now and then we would drive like through East Rutherford, and I would be like, Bam Bam lives here.
Yes.
He's gonna pop out somewhere. This man with flames on his head is gonna
Asbury
pop out and start
Park,
fighting
man.
us. Yeah. So now, in terms of like mocap, in terms of finding yourself in this game, like what was that process like? You mentioned like going and getting sort of like facial recognition.
Yeah, so
like,
they bring this giant, it's like a futuristic looking lit up tube type of thing. It's like you go in, you expect to be teleported somewhere else when you get in, and it's like light everywhere, and you just really have to sit there. They just scan your face like crazy, and then you have to get all the shots in your gear and like little angles, and then they just have a team that does the mocap. Like some guys, like I know, I believe Shane McMahon was very specific about his own particular mocap and wanted to do his own stuff, like his own taunts and stuff like that.
McMahon's have a swagger to their walk that I think can't be encapsulated by the average man.
Yes, yeah. Shane's got a special way about him. So some of the guys want to do it on their own, but like they have a great crew that like will watch me do my thing and then go out there and be Seth Rollins with a black suit and a bunch of balls on or whatever. So yeah, they do a really good job at it. The guys who are out there doing it, and kudos to them, because those are long days. I know you're just there like doing reps of like, okay, how does Seth Rollins punch the ground? You know what I'm saying? Or like that's crazy to me. So
Think of those weird like foam yoga blocks that they got to jump on.
Yeah. The team is just it's amazing all the parts that go into putting together a video game. I think that goes unappreciated. You just look at, it's WWE, it's 2K, it's the wrestlers, but dude, there's a developers and mocap teams and just all the people in different places. They deserve just as much as credit as we do for putting all that together and making sure a cool game comes out of it.
And I think so much of that works into the realism of the themes that you find in the actual WWE, right? Like you mentioned the old school wrestling video games. I played some of the old ones like Raw and WrestleFest and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they would try things like a Battle Royal or a Royal Rumble, which like you need 20 or 30 characters for, but there were only like 8 characters in the game for memory reasons. It's like Doink the Clown would come out and get thrown out, and you'd be like, oh, well, we're like 80% done with this thing already. But nowadays, like you can pack the ring with characters and you can bring people in and out, and there's so much more going on. Did you grew up playing video games? You mentioned like you played the old wrestling games.
I had a Nintendo for as long as I'm born in '86. So
oh wow.
Yeah, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, PlayStation 1, 2, 3, Xbox. Well, now I've got both of them, PS4 and the Xbox One. Is it the One now?
Yeah.
We've lost count.
Yeah, and I've got a Switch for the road, so I mean, I've got it all, man. Yeah, that's how I like to pass the time.
You guys are on the road constantly,
Yeah.
and what do you? Is the Switch the kind of go-to at this point for?
For some of us, Xavier Woods has got his Up Up Down Down channel, and like so him and kind of his crew, they traveled before the Switch had come out. They traveled with full systems. They had like games cases and would set up the whole thing. And we'd play UFC backstage or Madden or FIFA or whatever game's hot at the moment. So, but there was just really no good handheld systems, to be honest with you. Not saying like the PS or whatever Vita or whatever it wasn't decent. It just wasn't. It wasn't great. So the Switch is awesome, I think. So I got it. I got Zelda. I spent 200 hours playing that. You know, and FIFA just came out, and you can play like local multiplayer. So like. If you're just killing time at an airport or in a hotel or at the arena backstage, it's easy to just be like, hey, you want to go? And link up and do the deal, man.
Are you worried about like someone walking up to you at an airport and you're playing WWE on your Switch and you're playing as yourself? Like that's a little it's a little self-indulgent, right? Like if someone taps you on your shoulder and you're like, are you being you in your video game that you're on the cover of?
Yeah, like I said, I will not never be me, but I will not be me most of the time.
That's true.
Yeah, I will be somebody else. So I try to avoid that. I try to stay incognito at the airports anyway.
That's good.
Nice low hat, hoodie up. I try to just skate through that part of my life.
Hoodie up, play as a different character.
Yeah. No one will notice.
That's the lowest profile. Is play as a different character.
No one will guess if I'm Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Xavier Woods was here a couple months ago, and he showed us that thing you were talking about. It's sort of like it's a briefcase with a PS4 and a TV in it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this is dedication. Like these guys are legit. Like when we were kids, I think there was a sort of a line in the sand between like nerds and jocks, and I don't feel that way anymore. I think that like all of those worlds have sort of crossed over. Like if I had seen you in the 80s, I would have been like, this guy's gonna kick my ass and steal lunch money. Definitely still true today. But also like, I think like you probably have a spreadsheet about all the asses you've kicked and all the money you've taken. You'd be smart about it. You know?
Responsible ass kicking.
Exactly.
You got to track that stuff.
The video, for sure, the lines have blurred, especially on our end, man. I mean, we just have so much downtime where we're, like I said, at hotels, at the airport, at the arenas, just, and it's a good way to build camaraderie. Back in the day, the guys had other habits that were not so
right.
Yeah, not so good. So this is how we kill time. This is how we come together, and it's been awesome. Honestly, Woods' video game channel has been fantastic for the locker room as far as just like creating relationships. Like for example, the Usos, Jimmy and Jay are friends of mine, and I would have never gotten to know them had we not sat down and played UFC, because we have completely completely different interests outside of video games and wrestling. But when you sit down and fight somebody and try to submit them for 2 hours on end, you get to know them as human beings a little bit too. So yeah, video games just bringing the world together.
Yeah, what are the most popular games to play backstage with WWE?
UFC, just because it's quick.
Yeah.
That one's easy. It's a straight. And the simulation aspect of it is cool. I think guys like that part of it because, there's tons of good fighting games out there, but like, Marvel, Capcom, Tekken, whatever. But like the simulation of the UFC is really well done. EA did a good job on that. FIFA, what's that game with it's like soccer but with the cars? Rocket League?
Rocket League,
yeah. Yeah, Rocket League.
Sure.
So like the quick turnovers are good. Like something you can get done in like, 5 to 10 minutes and then hand the controller off.
Right.
So like Madden can take a little while sometimes depending on how long you play your quarters or whatever.
Sure.
Like
I'm
that.
amazed you managed to sink 200 hours into Zelda.
Oh, no. Don't be amazed, because I don't have to share that with anybody. That's just me.
I did the exact same thing.
I should be sleeping at 4 a.m. Instead, I'm up like, oh, no, I'll just go find one more shrine. No, just one more shrine. All right, I'll just kill this guy one more time.
I was on
2 hours later, I'm like,
I was on like a red-eye cross-country flight, and I beat a boss at like 3 in the morning. All the lights were off on the plane. I was like, yes!
Oh, yeah.
All these kids woke up, and I'm like, what? You don't understand yet. One day you will.
Yeah, one day you'll get it. Grow up, huh?
So that's awesome. It's like there's a competitive nature happening in the ring by the nature of the sport that you're in. And it's carrying over to the locker room or backstage at the hotels and stuff like that. Do you think like that you'll sort of try to recreate feuds or have one-on-ones with the people you work with, your wrestler friends, as we'll refer them, in WWE?
And 2K? Yeah, who knows, man? I got to play the game with Woods a little while ago, like maybe last week or so in Denver. We got to test it out, and that was a lot of fun. I think the cool thing about the 2K is it's more fun to play on the same team.
Right.
So you can do 3-on-3, 2-on-2 matches, all of you on the same team, just going out and using tables, ladders, and chairs to crush your computer opponents. I think that's more fun. Yesterday at the building, we had copies of the game, and the guys had it on in the locker room, and we're kind of playing back and forth and checking out the older arenas and the older characters, and just going back and forth and stuff like that. But I think in this game, that's one of the fun aspects, is being able to be on the same team and just dominate some dudes.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have one more question for you before we go. It's something that's been on my mind for a very, very long time.
Serious.
The referees. Where do you find these guys?
What do you mean?
Wait, they are never looking where they need to look.
No,
they are always there,
no.
letting everyone get away with literal murder in the ring.
They have a very thankless job. All right, it is very difficult to be a professional referee in WWE, and they do an excellent job, I would say, at their position. It is hard, and you know what? To be honest with you, a lot of them come from the same place we come from. They're just huge wrestling fans.
That's true.
And they're like, we want to do this, but they're maybe smaller, or they don't fit right, or they can't, maybe fighting in the ring is not their thing. So
they get hit with a lot of chairs too.
So yeah, but you look at some of the guys, they take a lot of spills and falls, and it's not an easy gig, and they're on the road just as much as we are, so they're running ragged as well. But I think they do a great job. I love our referees.
I agree. They are very conveniently looking in the wrong direction. A lot of times when a lot of tomfoolery is happening behind them.
They're looking in the wrong direction at the right time.
For you, specifically.
For everyone.
They
do their jobs to a T. They know how to get it done.
Yes. Shout out to the referees. Even when you're looking.
The unsung heroes.
The unsung heroes of wrestling.
The unsung heroes.
Thank you so much for coming by.
Hey,
WWE 2K is out right now, coming to Switch very soon.
Yes.
Can't wait to play that there. Thank you so much for coming. And
thanks for coming by.
Thank you,
congrats
man.
on the launch.
My pleasure. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, it's the game with him on the front of it.
I'm on it looking very seriously.
You can't miss it.
That was Seth Rollins, one of the many WWE folks we've had on Up at Noon. Check out our interview we did with Xavier Woods, and while you're at it, check out the WWE Cross IGN Esports Showdown, which I got to be a part of a couple weeks ago. It's kind of insane. And watch Up at Noon every week at noon Pacific time on IGN.